First and foremost, Jason, thanks for joining us. And how hot is this story right now?
It's pretty hot. Vancouver is not happy, and you know we're looking around and we're seeing how the Canucks are a pretty big story just around the NHL, not just in Vancouver.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating because it seems like there should be a pretty good hockey team there. You know, before we get into the details of what to do next and who said what and all that, can you give us sort of an overview of what's going on that's making this such a cluster swear word?
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of people look at the roster and they see some real strengths, right? Like if you're thinking about trying to build a Stanley Cup contending team, you think you want depth down the middle, you want a number one defenseman, and you want a good goalie. Well, the Canucks went into the season with Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, and Bo Horvat as your 3C. Yeah. They had, Quinn Hughes, good young defenseman on the back end, and they got Thatcher Demko in goal. Plus, you had some pretty good wingers, Brock Besser, Connor Garland. They added a few, Mikheyev, who you guys know in Toronto. Kuzmenko, who's actually been pretty good. And you think, well, how is this team 0-4-2? How are they blowing all these leads? And how are they, so bereft of confidence and belief in the home opener? And why is the fan base so frustrated? But I think if you look a little deeper into this team, you've got that depth down the middle. But JT Miller was a big signing, and he has looked awful. Like he has just looked terrible. There's all the high risk giveaways without any of the reward that you get for. He's a bit of a gunslinger, right? So he takes a lot of risks, and last year a lot of those risks paid off. This year, almost all of them are ending up on the other stick of the other team. And then if you look at the blue line, you got Quinn Hughes, but you don't have much beyond him. And frankly, Quinn Hughes has been playing too much. Now he's hurt, but he's been playing too much, and he hasn't been very good either. He's been careless with the puck at times, and Thatcher Demko has not been good at all. So this is what you get when almost everything goes against you.
Before we get into maybe some other things like the goaltending, lots of talk with Jim Rutherford's appearance on After Hours. What were your thoughts after watching him? Did he calm the waters, or did he pour gasoline on the fire?
Well, he definitely didn't calm the waters. There were a number of takeaways. First of all, I was at the Elton John concert on Saturday, so I came out of the concert. I came out of the concert, terrific concert, 75 years old and still going strong. I come out of the concert, and I didn't have very good reception where my seats were, so I come out of the concert, and I'm seeing floods of, texts from my buddies, like guys that were at the game, and be like, we left in the second or whatever, and all the social media stuff, and like, oh, JT Miller had an argument with Luke Shen on the ice, their jerseys on the ice. And then, I see the Jim Rutherford appearance, and there were just a number of takeaways there, but probably my biggest one was, there's a really weird dynamic going on between management and the head coach, Bruce Boudreau. And one of the things that Jim Rutherford said was like, and I'd never heard him admit this before, he said when he took the job, it was his understanding that Bruce Boudreau was only signed for last season. And then he finds out that, oh, wait a minute, it's kind of a 2-year deal. There was options involved in there, but, the way he's always made it seem is, Bruce Boudreau is not his pick for his head coach. And he talks about the Canucks having a bad training camp. He talks about them having poor habits and a lack of structure. And I'm kind of like, those seem like coaching responsibilities, don't they? Like, it's just such a weird dynamic. And, then he talks, then he gets a question about from one of the fans via Scott Oak, why hasn't this team ever committed to a full, rebuild? And he gives the answer of, well, people have to realize how long rebuilds are. And most of the fan base is here, and they're like, hey, no offense, Jim, here, but you've been here for like a year. We've been going through the same old thing for almost a decade. So is a rebuild a decade? Because it's been a decade, and we'd be willing to sign up for that right now.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, it's been truly fascinating to watch from here. One of the things when things start to go wrong is you start to look at, what you thought you had with the team and what you maybe really have with the team. And you mentioned all the things that people thought were there in Vancouver, but, you're looking at the names you mentioned, let's say that all those players, the good, down the middle, and you got good goaltending and a number one defenseman, teams have failed with that in the past. Can the Canucks build around Hughes and Miller and Horvat and Demko? Like, can they build around those guys? Are they a core that, if they're better supported, can have success?
I think you have to start with the core. I really do.
Yeah.
I think you have to look at, I'm not blaming the others right now. I mean, Podkolzin has been good. He's a good young player. Curtis Lazar has come in and been, a good soldier. There isn't much on the blue line, and that was a major issue staring the Canucks in the face. And Jim Rutherford said he tried to fix the blue line last summer, but how many teams out there have tried to fix the blue line? It's tough, man. There's not many good defensemen out there. Right. Can't fix it in free agency. We've seen countless teams try and fail to fix the blue line. And the rare teams that actually do succeed in fixing their blue line, well, look at Colorado. Look at that blue line that Colorado had like 5 or 6 years ago. It was dreadful. Look at it now. It's amazing, right? So, that is an issue that is staring this management group in the face. How do you fix the blue line? And how do you do it without losing so much from up front or trading away another first round draft pick? Or, it's a puzzle that, I'll be honest with you, like, I do not see a solution to.